Welcome to Today in Hip Hop Season 2, Episode 5. I'm your host, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Noah Jones, and I appreciate you tuning in. Today we have some interesting things to discuss. We have 14-year-old rapper DTE Lil Day Day. Yo, where do these niggas come up with these names? Lil Day Day, what the fuck? You got some French Montana news. Shout out to French, man. He actually touched on something that I've been not only thinking, but have spoken about in previous episodes, about record labels taking out life insurance policies on the artists that they sign. You know, basically turning us into commodities. Also, the hoe of all hoes, everybody's favorite slut walking queen / whatever you want to call her, Amber Rose has some shit to say, where she basically says that she, A&R'd music for all of her boyfriends, and that she has an amazing ear. But I'll let her talk about that. So, first and foremost, we're gonna talk about your boy DTE Lil Day Day. You know, he's from Florida. Florida has had some interesting artists, man. You've had XXX Tentacion from Florida, Kodak Black, who I think is extremely weird, is from Florida. And you have this 14-year-old gangster rapper named DTE Lil Day Day. Now, basically what's going on, he landed on the radar of some local law enforcement. He got arrested. Basically what was going on was he was carrying a firearm. He's 14, carrying a firearm, and he basically got sent to a juvenile detention center. And he's basically upset because one of his friends was snitching, ladies and gentlemen. It was snitching on him. So he basically said after his release, he says, "I'm free. I appreciate everyone who's been calling and checking in. And somebody call a vet because my dog turned out to be a rat." He said, "Yak. Ain't no we talk to the feds now. You got the right to remain silent." So look, here's what's funny about this situation. Well, actually, it's not really funny. It's kind of sad, to be honest. First and foremost, he's 14 years old. I've seen some video. I'm not familiar with his music, but I've seen some videos and some clips of him basically holding firearms in his videos. And the one thing that I want to know is, where the fuck is this kid's parents at? You know what I mean? Who allows their 14-year-old child to participate in this type of activity willingly? See, times have completely changed. When I was younger, you see, I'm an old head, so when I was younger, and usually when you get older, you get wiser. But when I was younger, at a certain point in my life, we didn't have direct communication to our parents. So we had to have enough sense, enough common sense. Remember, I grew up in New York. We had to have enough common sense to navigate the streets and to navigate where we needed to go to, without being directly supervised or micromanaged. My mother used to work 2 full-time jobs, so growing up, she was never around. So I had to learn things like look both ways before you cross the street, how to potentially see if somebody's driving up to kidnap you, how to stay away from the evils and the dangerous situations that you see on a regular basis. You know what I mean? We had communities to where if somebody saw me doing something that I had no business doing, my parents would give them the permission to whoop my ass. Remember, this is way before cell phones, when everybody was, like nowadays, people on their cell phones, they all in their own little zones. Everybody's paying attention to strictly what they got going on. There's no real community no more. You can live in a community for years and not know your neighbor, not know the type of shit that they into, none of that type of shit. So in my day, the parents actually had other parents that looked out for each other's kids. It was more like a bond. Where is this kid's parents at? You know, or what is wrong with him to where, it's like these people get addicted to the attention. They get addicted to the clout. They get addicted to being popular. So these guys, these little young kids, they're going to trade basically a 5-year window of being popular and being all over the internet and being famous for a 60-year-old worth of life. Because within the next 5 years, a lot of these people are dead. So you're going to give up. You're going to basically have 5 years where people are talking about you, and you're going to trade that for the rest of your life. That makes no sense. Somebody needs to sit these kids down, hopefully their parents. And see, here's the thing. A lot of times, it's young people having kids, young parents that don't know no better themselves. And a lot of times it comes from like broken households where you only have one parent. And sometimes the mom or the dad is working so many hours that they can't sit down and have family dinners where they discuss what's going on with life and how to navigate and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And sometimes the parents are just irresponsible themselves and they just happen to make it through, struggling, scraping, whatever they had to do. And they raise these young children that don't know no better, that don't care, that don't have any respect for anybody, don't respect authority. They don't have any uncles that step in and say, yo, let me show you the right thing to do. Let me take kids. Families, especially in our community, we don't even talk to each other. We don't get along. A lot of this shit is rooted in the slavery that we went through. The division, all that shit is a real fucking thing. We have been divided and taught division since an early age. You know what I mean? You've been divided even in school. They take the kids that are, probably going through some shit at home, emotionally challenged or whatever. They sit them off to the side of the room and exile them from the other kids. Or they put their desk in the front. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember shit like that. Like, going through things where you acting out for attention. And instead of the teacher actually taking the time to talk to you and work through your problems, she'll sit your desk out in the hallway and have you sitting out there while all the other students are inside laughing at you because now you all by yourself sitting outside of the classroom like a deranged bad child when you just had some issues. You just had shit going on that you just didn't know how to process because you're young. Mentally, we go through stages. Early on in life, you don't understand shit. As you get older, as you get more experience, your mind opens up and you get to see things from different perspectives and different angles. So we have this 14-year-old gangster rapper and nobody is sitting him down and saying, yo, this shit is going to lead to your death, bro. By the time you're 20, you'll probably be out of here. You won't even get a chance to travel the world, see things. Apply for a loan in your name. You're not even legally old enough to drink and have a good time and go out and do things productive because you're 14 and you got guns in your videos. Remember, they got the hip hop police. They got people that's paying attention to shit. There are people out there that we don't know specifically, but they really get turned on by locking motherfuckers up. They wake up in the morning and they're like, it's like a game to them. Like, hey, let's see who I can lock up today. Let's see whose life I can ruin today. Let's see what I can do to make it hard for somebody today. There are really people like that out there. And us as individuals, we got to make sure that we don't get caught up in the bullshit. Because especially being black, the odds are already stacked against you. We already got to keep our head on a swivel from people that we grew up with that was in the same predicament as us that didn't have the success rate that we've had. So we got to already keep our head on the swivel to make sure that these guys ain't coming after us. Let alone the police, and you know what happens? Sometimes the police is kids in school that got bullied themselves. So they grow up, become police, and they start bullying other motherfuckers. Like the cycle continues. Some of these people got picked on by the black kids in their school. So what do? They grow up and they pick on the black people as adults. It's a real fucking thing. And until we start addressing this type of shit, it's going to keep going on. We got to address this shit. And we got to be accountable. But as individuals, we can't put ourselves in these kind of positions. We got to realize, yo, like, let me keep all my shit in order. So just in case some shit happens, I'm good to go. I ain't got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what I need to understand is, where is this kid's parents, and what kind of parents does this kid have to where they allow him to do this type of shit? You can't tell me somebody didn't come up to his mom or his dad or whatever and say, yo, I seen the video of your son out here with guns all in the video. Like, somebody had to say something. And how come the parent just didn't shut it down? It's like, you can't see that your son is on a fast track to prison. He's on a fast track to getting killed. And the shit don't bother you. And then what do they say when a motherfucker dies? Oh my God, my baby, he was such a good kid. This shit ain't good behavior. You can't say this nigga's a good kid and this is the kind of behavior he's doing. He's already in a juvenile detention center. He's 14 with guns. What do you think it's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? He's not gonna turn over a new leaf because he's already headed down that path, and he's getting the kind of attention that he probably wasn't getting at home. He's getting all the attention he needs from the internet and everywhere else. And as you can see, even I'm talking about him, so I'm contributing to the fuck shit. But my question to you guys is, where is this guy's parents? You know what I mean? And as a parent, don't you talk to your kids about shit? I talk to my daughter all the time and say, yo, gotta give you this advice. She may not like it. You know, she may not like to hear it, but I gotta give her that advice because I have years of experience that needs to be transferred over to my children. Now, a lot of times kids don't like to hear shit when it comes from the parents. Same with relationships. You want a relationship with a girl, you try to give her some fucking positive information, some encouragement, and she'll think you're trying to control her. Now let anybody else give her that same fucking information and they just eat it up wholeheartedly. Oh, word, I didn't know that. Let me try it. But if it's coming from your man, oh, I'm trying to control you. Same with your kids. Oh, my parents don't understand me. They trying to control me. You know, but it's up to us as individuals to see through that shit and say, look, you know, we got to fix this shit before this shit becomes a real problem. You fix the leaks in the boat before your ass is submerged underwater. When you see the cracks coming, you got to get on top of that shit and take care of business and fix the shit. Or at least try. Some things can't be fixed. Some people are so set in their ways that you just can't, you know, you can't fix them. But you got to at least have the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. You got to have at least have the conversation. So, moving on to the next story. We got your boy French Montana, you know, and French Montana sat down with DJ Academics. So shout out to DJ Academics and French Montana. And basically French said, hey, you know, things have changed. Back in the day, we was beefing for real. People was dying like this and like that and blocking a lot of money. People didn't want to touch you. Said your rap friends stopped picking up. The record label stopped picking up. He said, but now it's even crazier. They're getting life insurance on artists. He said, back then, we didn't have that. You know, he said, French says that the labels are preying on making millions on a person's death. You know, and he says like, yo, we're supposed to have life insurance on our own. See, that's the thing. Us as individuals, knowing that these people are out to get us and out to kill us, why is that not the first thing that people put in place for their children? You know, life insurance isn't very expensive, especially if you get in on a policy when your kids are real young. You know, I got a nephew that preaches that. He talks about life insurance all the time. Yo, you got to get insurance. You got to get insurance. And he's right. You know, you got record labels that are getting insurance on artists. And this is, like, I spoke about this before. Because what happens when an artist dies? His streams and his sales and his views go through the fucking roof. See, these record labels don't care about us as individuals. We are just commodities that they can buy, sell, and trade. We are literally humans for sale. I actually have a song that I'm working on about the same fucking concept. We are literally humans for sale. They want to protect their fucking investment. So what do? They go get insurance. Now, do we know whether or not they are even causing some of these things to happen to these young artists? Do we know whether or not they are leaking the information of where their artist is so that way violence can occur to their artists? Do we know? We have no fucking clue. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But what we do know is there will be a huge payout for these record labels. And a lot of these record labels, you know, what do? They sign the same type of artists. You know, they put minimal effort into these rap artists. And think about it. This is an awesome hustle. Put a little bit of money into your artists and blow them up a little bit to where the hate just starts overflowing, and make sure you got a couple $1 million worth of life insurance policy on this guy. Less money than you put into to building him up, mind you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to put a couple thousand into building the artist up, and you're going to take a multi-million-dollar policy out on this guy. So when he dies, you're 100% profit. You're 100% in the green. Plus, the streams are going to go up. It's going to spike in streams. Sometimes 1,000%. And who owns the rights to the streams? The artists. The record label. The artists don't have their paperwork in order, so when they die, their estate is up for grabs. And now you got to fight with a record label that has the eternity. They have the attorneys. They have the machine behind them. You're just a regular person with a 9-to-5. You can't fight these guys. So what happens is you end up losing out on all your money, and you end up losing your child. And we don't know if these record labels are setting these kids up. But I do know that for a fact, if you look at Empire Records, a lot of their artists was dying. If you go down the rabbit hole and look at all the people that was signed to Empire Records that died, there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? And to me, that's fishy. I don't know why an investigation hasn't been brought on these guys. Or any other person for that matter. Or maybe they all in it together, just sharing the money all around with each other. Because, you know, when you got a good hustle going on, people don't like to fuck the hustle up. So they don't say shit. They just let it rock. You know what I'm saying? They let it rock. So we don't know. All we do know is that there's life insurance policies being taken out on these fucking kids. And, you know, the record label gets these kids when they're young, in a bad situation, impoverished neighborhood. They offer them a couple $1,000 because these young kids ain't never seen no kind of money like that. You give a young kid 50 grand, he's thinking that's like, yo, oh my God, that's a lot of money. But yet these motherfuckers make millions off you and they own all your music. So going forward, they can remix your shit. They can add other people on your songs, people that you wouldn't even normally work with because you don't rock with these type of artists. They'll make their own collaboration with them motherfuckers, put the shit out there, and just keep running to the well to pull as much fucking resources out of it as they can to make money off you after you're dead. Record labels ain't out here for the artists. That's why I preach independence, having your own shit, do the shit yourself. It's a longer road. Trust me, it's a longer road. But when you own your shit, you got leverage. And you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You can tell these record labels, suck my dick. Because you don't need them. And you're making enough money to where you're good. You know, so these motherfuckers come along, they say, okay, here's another hustle. We got the 360 deal to where we're going to keep majority of everything. We're going to put in minimal effort. We're going to put in minimal finances for these artists. And we're going to get these life insurance policies. So with all the gun talk that they doing in their music, it's only a matter of time before these motherfuckers get clapped and killed. So you get 5, 6, 7 artists and you done take, you know, insurance policies out on all of them. Before you know it, you go from being a startup label to a major label because now you done got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, maybe even $100 million in finance money from the death of these artists and they fucking sales going up after they die. It's a hustle. We got to be smarter. We got to be smarter. We got to handle our shit differently. We got to start picking our battles. We got to stop getting into it with motherfuckers that, you know, could potentially cause us fucking death. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just move a little smarter and do things a little differently. There's a lot of information on the internet that you can look up and you can find out different ways to do shit. How to own your shit. You know, and I understand people have the attention span of fucking like a light switch. 1 minute they interested, the next minute they not. But if you want to have a healthy, lengthy career, you're going to have to sit down and do the research yourself. Write down your notes. Study the shit. Because the people on the top, they already know. So you're already playing from a disadvantage point right from the beginning. They know all the info going in and they're using it against you. So you got to study and you got to prepare, ladies and gentlemen. So now, let's talk about your girl, Amber Rose. She says that, talks about her influence in the rap game and that she's A&R'd for all her boyfriends. Let's actually hear some of it right now, what she's talking about.
I have a good ear. I've A&R'd a bunch of amazing projects.
You've A&R'd a bunch of projects?
Oh, yeah.
Like, give me an example. Like, what have you A&R'd?
All my boyfriends. All of them.
You've A&R'd for all of your boyfriends?
All of them.
You've A&R'd for Ye?
Absolutely.
You've A&R'd...
Here's the thing. Let's take this step by step. There's a lot that goes on in the A&R in a project. You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes on. You know, let me see. Give me 1 second. There's a lot that goes into A&R project. Now, one of the things she's going to talk about is how Kanye didn't know who Nicki Minaj was. And basically, she got Nicki on the Monster record that everybody talks about today. It's the Monster song on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy on Kanye's album. Right? Now, hearing somebody and saying, yo, you should work with somebody or bringing them over, that's not A&R'ing. That's like saying, yo, this motherfucker's talented. You should be working with my man because he got this shit going. That's not A&R'ing. She's not picking the fucking beats. She's not EQing the shit. You know, she's not saying, yo, this should sound like this. This should sound like that. You know what I'm saying? She's not A&R'ing. Not like in a traditional sense. But let's let her continue.
I put Nicki on Monster. I put Nicki on Monster.
You can just stop there. You can stop there, right?
I put Nicki on Monster. He didn't know who Nicki was back then. I had Nicki pull up to the studio and I put her on Monster.
Because you guys were, I think me, you and that, you guys were super close at that particular time, right?
I got to call cap on that. Check it out. First and foremost, my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out in 2010. Nicki's Pink Friday album came out in 2010 also, which had a lot of her hit records. Now, even though they were recorded at separate times, Nicki was already signed to Young Money. She had already did a mixtape, I think, in 07 and 09, and she got crazy buzz off her 2 mixtapes because she was working with Wayne at the time and all that other shit. Now, as competitive as Kanye is, because you know you've heard him speak about how competitive he is with Drake and everybody else, there's no fucking way that he did not know who Nicki Minaj was, because there haven't been a whole lot of female artists that really people talk about. So when any of them get any kind of real buzz, they're the topic of conversation. When Cardi B started buzzing, everybody was talking about her. You know what I'm saying? So that particular shit right there, so for her to say that he didn't know who she was, I gotta call cap on that shit. Now, there's a difference between knowing who somebody is and following their fucking career. Maybe he wasn't, quote unquote, following her shit, but he had to have heard who she was because she was signed to Young Money, my nigga. And Lil Wayne was bigging up Young Money. So Wayne at that time, everybody was following what Wayne was doing anyway because he had that crazy run the way he did a whole lot of features. So Wayne was like the talk of the town for many years. So anything that he put his mind to and had his hands in, these niggas was paying attention to. And we talking about Kanye after he already had 2 or 3 successful albums prior to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You know what I mean? So there's no way he didn't fucking know who she was. Now, maybe she introduced him. You know, you can say that. But, you know, she introduced him, and I mean, that's and she made an introduction. She played the middleman.
But she was still coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And I saw her in the studio, And I said, oh my God, this bitch is fucking talented as hell. And then I went back to Kanye and I was like, you need to get this girl Nicki on Monster. And he was like, who? What? No, I'm not. No. Mm-mm. And I said, just let her pull up. What's it gonna hurt?
She did it.
So he didn't listen to anything that she had done. She just pulled up and like with that verse.
Well, she pulled up and we all had a conversation. Mm-hmm. She heard the song and then she came back the next day with the verse.
And he almost wanted to take the verse off.
Because it was too good.
It was too good.
Slid on that.
Yeah.
We all had a conversation.
He's like, how the fuck did you bring in a bitch that killed me on my own song?
Did you have to convince him to keep the verse on the song?
I don't remember that part.
It's a long time ago, man. Very long time ago. I don't remember.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I gotta call Cap on that shit. I gotta go. We had a conversation. We sat down and had a conversation, as if she was part of the team. See, here's another thing. Pardon me. How can you take advice from somebody like Amber Rose, right? Who hasn't released none of her own shit, really. She's done whatever she's done, but she doesn't have a history. See, here's the thing. People in high positions tend to take advice from other people in high positions that also have experience. What the fuck experience did she have to bring to the table to where she was even qualified to have a sit down that meant anything to the outcome of this particular record or any kind of shit whatsoever? You know, and my thing is this: if you've done a certain thing for a certain period of time and you fuck around and say, oh, I've A&R'd, why haven't you came out with your own shit? Why you don't have a #1 album? Why you don't have all this other shit going on? See, that's the thing. Because rapping is such an easy thing to do, everybody and their moms wants to do it. It's kind of like OnlyFans for bitches. It's so easy. The entry point is so low and so easy that anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Whether you have a successful career at it, that's neither here nor there. But rap is a fucking shit show. It's a popularity contest. It's not about who got the most skills. She can come out with a project and do better than somebody who got amazing talent because they're unknown and she has the popularity level. And it's not like it's not like she's going to say anything that's going to be pertinent to anything. And if she does, she ain't write the shit. That's for damn sure. You know what I'm saying? How is it that you don't come out with your own shit? She got an album that's been in the works. I've been doing it for this long. It's like, okay, but do you have big records with the niggas you fuck with? You was dating 21 Savage, smelling his drawers and shit. I remember that. Talk about how she likes to just grab his drawers and just smell the crotch area. This is a dirty bitch. This bitch is dirty. You know, let's not confuse kinky and nasty with dirt. That's hygienic. That's a dirty bitch. She's dirty. You know what I mean? But you dated Wiz Khalifa. You ain't got no big records with him. You dated Kanye. You ain't got no big records with him. You dated fucking 21 Savage. You don't have no big records with him. You smelled his drawers, but you ain't got no big records with him. You also dated one of the head niggas at Def Jam, but you never had a fucking A&R position from the record label. You're not a talent scout for the record label. Who have you put on? Where's your record label at? Where's your own shit at? You see what I'm saying? So you got to take shit like this with a grain of salt, because it's like when you have the ability to do all the type of shit that people like her say that she got the ability to do, you duplicate it and you replicate it by doing it for yourself. You create your own label. You put out your own management team. You do your own shit. And then you make your fortune off of that. You don't run to a record label and run over here. You do it yourself. She got enough popularity, she can do it herself. But that's why I'm calling cap in a lot of that shit. See, we got to see through the bullshit and really start looking at the truth of a lot of this shit. Okay, yeah, you know, maybe Kanye hadn't had a an actual relationship with Nicki Minaj at that time. And you might have known who she was because you quote unquote saw her in a studio and thought that she was dope and you linked up with her and then you made the introduction to Kanye. Okay. That don't mean you A&R'd shit. What you did was you helped provide an opportunity for Nicki Minaj to be on that fucking record, which is amazing. You made an introduction. Thank you. The song was fucking phenomenal. But that doesn't mean you A&R'd the shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I doubt somebody like Jay-Z who was on that record, Kanye who's on that record, is going to allow you, Amber Rose, to A&R some shit that they got their voices on. That's a big level record. That's a big record with a lot of money circulating on that song. Some of the biggest artists to ever have done it. And you think that they would just allow you to A&R that shit. You gotta stop the fucking cap. You know what I mean? Stop capping. Anyway, this is your boy Noah Jones. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Today in Hip Hop Season 2, Episode 5. Make sure you check out privateroadclothing.com. Also, you can check out the podcast episodes in audio format on noahjonesnews.com. That's where you want to go. You got links to the Spotify. You got the podcast show there. You got all my music. Stuff that I can't even upload to Spotify because of copyright issues, shit like that. All the mixtapes, you know, all the underground fly shit is on noahjonesnews.com. Plus, you got all my music videos, interviews, behind the scenes, and a couple other shows that I'm working on as well, all on that particular area. All centralized, all for you. I appreciate your support. Tune in soon for the next episode of Today in Hip Hop. I love y'all. Spread the word. Peace.